Ladies and gentlemen, just 2 days before the inauguration ceremony, billionaire Elon Musk and the soon-to-be chief of Donald Trump's Doge department met with members of the Indian business fraternity, and that also included entrepreneurs, and at his SpaceX facility. In fact, you can see that picture that was tweeted by Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo, and of course a whole host of other founders who met with Elon Musk. The delegation included notable figures, including Ritesh Agarwal, the founder and group CEO of Oyo, Kalyan Raman, the CEO of Flipkart, and Lesh Ved, the chairman and CEO of Apparel Group, amongst a whole host of other entrepreneurs as well who were there in that gathering. To discuss more on how the meeting went, we're now joined by Ritesh Agarwal, the founder and group CEO of Oyo. Ritesh, thank you very much for taking the time out and speaking with ET now. Now, first things first, just want to understand how the meeting with Mr. Musk went. Could you talk to us about the overall experience of meeting him, and what were the key conversations, given that it's happened ahead of Trump's swearing in?
As any tech entrepreneur, meeting Elon Musk is a little bit of that, inspiring moment, or rather meeting somebody who you admire so much. So I was really looking forward to this. I think one of the things I found out is Elon probably called out a few times about his admiration and fascination for India's ancient, and he reminded to underline, great civilization with a lot of potential. We first had the opportunity to see the SpaceX Starship launch, which was only the second time where they were going to represent a booster catch of the huge Starship that exists. Frankly, I had my heart in my throat where I wasn't sure whether they'd be able to catch it. I didn't want to be the person where when I was there, they couldn't exhibit the catch, but it happened and I could shoot some videos. Along with me was my namesake, Ritesh, who also shot some great videos. So long story short, what a fascinating day. We ended the day with meeting Elon, which was in my mind the most important part of the day. They were very kind. They knew that we were, all Indians, and we like our food in all forms, but we also have a soft corner for vegetarian food. So there was an excellent vegetarian ensemble of food. So I really enjoyed that. And more importantly, the conversations. We talked about everything from AI, technology, Dogecoin, Doge. And of course, I think what stood out to me the most was his fascination and curiosity, not just about India, but also cultural aspirations like our very own Mahakumbh Mela, which has been ongoing at this point of time.
Absolutely, Ritesh, and you've been tweeting about it, about the whole conversation and Elon Musk's interest in not just the Kumbh Mela, but about the overall Indian civilization. Now, what I want to understand from you is that this meeting, like I said earlier, is coming in just 2 days. It came in just 2 days before Donald Trump assumes office. And of course, Elon Musk is going to be part of his Doge department. So in that sense, you have so many Indian businessmen going and meeting Mr. Musk, who's going to be part of that administration. And that, I believe, is the big story playing out. Of course, the optics look great. But what does this really, in your opinion, say about the India growth story? And what were some of the conversations about that in particular?
Look, I believe that connecting both of those may be speculative, but that said, I must mention that the discussion focused a lot on technology, innovation, India and US collaboration opportunities, and clearly somebody like Elon, who's somebody, the broader United States, but more importantly, people in the technology and the business fraternity respect a lot. Being so focused on the India collaboration is a great thing that he made time to see us. I also believe that India and US have sort of a natural ties because of our people-to-people relationships. We met a lot of senior colleagues of SpaceX who happen to be members of the Indian diaspora and truly passionate about the great work we are doing back home in India. India and US, as you know, have been natural trading partners with over $100 billion of business last year. Our exports to US is probably $70-80 billion or whereabouts. There's, of course, large number of Indian corporations making investments in US, but Oyo recently has made a partnership with G6, which is the owner of Motel 6 and Studio 6, which represents how Indian and the US companies are actively working together and moving from being just service providers to becoming strategic investors in the marketplace. I believe it's just the starting point in the direction where you will see not just Oyo, but also very many, not just large corporations, but also young startups make investments in US. As our Honorable Prime Minister says, the next era of AI is where AI stands for artificial intelligence and America and India.
Absolutely, Ritesh, and that's very well put, and we'll have to see how Indian entrepreneurs and business leaders really take forward that opportunity to sort of build in India, but build for the world as well. But moving on, Elon Musk, remember, has been looking to enter India. Was there any mention of that, given the businesses that he's recently expressed, with respect to the India market as well? And that's something that you mentioned in your tweet as well.
Yeah, look, I think first off, the discussion was a lot more focused on entrepreneurship in general. It never, first of all, I must call out that he truly, behaved as one of us, even though he's truly achieved, probably more than any other entrepreneur among ourselves. So I think it's very nice of him to be truly like buddies with the cohort and be focused on sharing his knowledge with no, blinders. So I appreciated that. I think he's, of course, he called out a few times about his inspiration about India. And I do think that over time, he would look to bring about some of his innovations to the Indian market. Truth be told, I was one of those few people who did apply on the wait list to get a Tesla. The pre-booking started. So I'm looking forward to Tesla coming out to India and many other exciting products from the stable of Elon Musk coming out.
Absolutely, and not just Tesla, but also Starlink as well. And we'll have to see how that story really pans out. But one final question, Ritesh, before we let you go, and this one is about Oyo. I have to ask you, since you're joining us, give us a sense of the kind of expansion plans that you have for Oyo. It just, partnered with G6 Hospitality, Studio 6. That's an all-cash transaction that happened. But what are we going to see from Oyo's stable this year? What are going to be some of the key projects that you're going to be looking at as priorities?
We're just coming out of a couple of weeks after the New Year, so I'm still sort of a little bit basking in the great New Year time that we had. I think we will take away a few things. The first is I see that while there are many opinions about the consumer trends, I think that travel and tourism, especially in India, remains very strong. We had a great New Year week and huge amount of travel nationally in Banaras, in all the religious destinations, but also in Goa. I saw some stories about Goa not being that much of traffic generally. I must say that what we've seen and some of the other travel players who focus on domestic demand have seen is still significant demand in the Goa region in that period of time. The second is we're working on premiumization. We're growing from our economy segment of Oyo to premiumizing with our company serviced hotels, where we have brands like Townhouse, Collection O, Palette, Sunday, and various other brands. We also recently launched our European vacation home brand called Den Center in India and various others. Of course, globally we are expanding. We are adding our hotels in the UK, our holiday homes in the European region, and in the US, like I mentioned earlier, with Motel 6 and Studio 6, we now have close to 2,000 hotels between Oyo and the other two brands that we've just brought in. So I think we're seeing growth and profit margins remaining healthy across. I'm quite excited about consumers' mindset shift from wanting to buy goods and products to wanting to move to services. So my sense is this is a perspective that will continue to expand in India, Southeast Asia, Middle East, Europe, and UK. But in the US, with the massive capex investments that we expect President Trump will bring into the nation, that will lead to a lot of common man American travel a lot more, both for work and for leisure. And that's a segment where Oyo and Motel 6 are highly focused upon. So we are anticipating lots of prospects of growth, both in our home markets of India, but also in other markets around the world.
Absolutely, Ritesh, and we'll have to see how that story really plays out with respect to consumption in the United States. And of course, that's going to be dependent a whole lot on what the policies of the Trump administration are. Thank you very much once again for joining us here on ET Now and sharing your thoughts.